It's two key words: coping and changing. And today I've started to pinpoint the difference between the two. I manage a community called Jeenergy, and I ask people to post about the hardest thing that they've ever been through in their life. And that post is beautiful. And people are continuing to share, you know, the things that have caused them the most trauma in this life. And the word coping came up. And I realized that this life is a lot about struggle, and it's about how you cope with these struggles. But I also understand that a lot of the things that we cope with can be changed. And there's two ways you change things. You either change the situation, which a lot of times we can, because we're not stuck. And in other situations, if it's a reality that you have created and you have a responsibility to stay. I guess the best example would be if you have kids. You can't run from that. Some people do. But if you're in a situation where you know these kids are yours and you have to provide and you are obligated to do so, then that's a reality you have created and you can't avoid it. There are temporary realities. You might live in a certain situation that's uncomfortable, but you can't move at that particular time. So maybe you might be temporarily stuck there and you have to cope with that environment. What I know is you change the situation or you change your attitude about what you're living. And I think people have more of a coping mindset and they don't have a change mindset. If you have more of a mindset of change, then you don't have to go through life feeling like you have to cope. And people have a lot of different ways that they cope, and a lot of people pick unhealthy habits: drinking, drugs. Depression is a side effect of coping because people don't know how to change their mindset or change their situation. Last thing you want to do is be coping with a situation that you can change. That's what you never want to do. And like I said, if you can't change the situation, then you change your attitude about it. You don't look at your life as if you are a victim. I'm noticing that a lot of these points that I'm making on these videos all go back to self-accountability. In order to change, you have to take accountability. Accountability always comes before the change. You take accountability for how your life looks. Everything was a result of some decision that you made. If you're coping with something. Now, the fact that we're alive, if you want to take it all the way to the beginning of life, we don't decide to be here. But we do decide to keep going. We decide to continue to live. Now, some people decide to check out of here under their own will. Suicide, it's a real thing. And that's always a decision. But for the people that are here and you want to keep going and you find purpose in your life here, that's not an option. In order to keep going, you have to take accountability for all the decisions that you make while you're alive that lead you to where you are right now. And when you can take accountability for that, then you can better be able to think and move throughout this life. And you don't move like a victim. You move as a humble and strong individual that accepts this is my reality and this is what I have created. And I have the ability to change the situation or change the way I look at it. And when you change your mind, you change your reality. I want people to get out of the coping, because coping is just doing things to take care of yourself, right? Coping is like the drug. Sometimes it's literally a drug, sometimes it's not literally a drug, but you're coping with something that's causing you suffering. But this life is full of suffering. So you can't look at that as a hindrance. You have to shift the way you look at this life. You literally have to learn to appreciate your suffering. You have to appreciate these things that are causing weight, because they are reminders that you're alive. They're reminders that you can be better and that you can figure out ways to move through this life so that you're not depressed and you're not feeling heavy. And you have to embrace that. The more you embrace life, the less you have to cope. And the more you just live. And you look at it as experiences that you have to face. And that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. So let's stop speaking so negatively on what we're meant to experience. You're here for a reason. You're here to do more than cope. You're here to change. We're all here to change ourselves first. And then we take our inner change and we put that onto the world. And hopefully you change the people around you for the better, because you changed yourself for the better. Ninja run, let's go.